Hey guys, it's Raj. Now, I'm going to give you some secret tips. Now, see, you really want to pass your Nebosh, and the textbook is really super thick. Alright, so thick, and you're thinking, oh, how am I going to pass the exam? Now, I really hope that you understand the concepts, the knowledge behind it. But I'm going to give you some real super tips for you to succeed. Now, you must understand that Nebosh wants to check your knowledge and your understanding. So they also have this list of learning outcomes. At the end of this topic, what are you supposed to be able to do? For example, if we look at GC2, okay, element 1, learning outcome. Okay, you should be able to explain the common health, welfare and work environment requirements in the workplace. Explain risk factors and appropriate control measures for violence at work. Effects of substance misuse on health and safety at work and control measures to reduce such risk. Okay, so let's look at these. So at the end of this, you should be able to understand or explain common health, welfare and work environment requirements in the workplace. Now, how does this tie in with their questions? Okay, very simple. Nebosh is going to send you 11 questions. For every exam, they've got 11 questions. So you need to ask yourself at the end of each chapter when you're reading it, have you met the learning outcomes? Are you able to answer the questions that are going to come out based on the learning outcomes? They're all going to come out based on the learning outcomes. They're going to test whether you're able to explain this or understand this. Okay, now let's look at this. Let's look at one question. Right? I took this from the examiner's report and I changed it so it's not a Nebosh question, but it's similar. Now, a person received an electrical shock from a hand 240 volt drill while doing some timber works at a construction site. The drill was old and has never been tested. The worker was not seriously injured even though he had a shock. So identify factors that may have limited the severity of injury this time. Okay? Identify the factors that may have limited the severity of injury this time. Okay? Then outline the physical effects on the body that the electrical contact could have caused under different circumstances. Right? Describe the types of inspection and or tests that the drill should have had, and also the features that should be checked by each type of inspection. Wow, this is a hard question, but you notice it's all about electricity and hand tools. Okay, so let's take a look at our learning outcomes. Okay, learning outcomes, electrical safety. If you studied that element, which you should have, at the end of the chapter, at the end of the element, you should be able to understand explain the principles, the hazards, the risks associated with the use of electricity in the workplace. Okay, and the control measures to be taken when working with electrical systems or electrical equipment in normal workplace conditions. So, looking back at the question, looking at the learning outcomes, I should understand the principles, the hazards and the risk. So the principles of electricity. How does electricity flow? Where does it go? From my hand down to my legs. What does it do? It affects my heart, causes muscle spasms, etc. If I'm older or younger, does it have a difference? If I'm healthier and I'm weaker, does it have a difference? If there's a cut on my hand, will there be a difference? Okay, if I'm wet or I'm dry, will there be a difference? Those are the principles of electricity, which the question was asking. And the question was asking, if you will refer back, identify the factors that might have limited the severity of injury this time. Number one, the time frame. I could have released the drill, so there's not much current flowing through. I'm in a dry environment, so there's no conductivity. Okay, I'm standing on rubber, so there's no way it can go to earth. The electrical sockets tripped, the ELCB tripped. Okay, so these are all the principles. Back to the principles. Okay, I outline physical effects on the body. Again, it's the principles. What will happen to me if I get electrocuted? What will happen to me when I get electrocuted when I'm standing in a pool? Or pool of water or in a wet environment? Okay? Back to the learning outcomes. Control measures that should be taken when working with electrical equipment. What was the question asking? The question was asking, describe the types of inspection. Inspection is control measures, right? And or tests that the drill should have had. And what were each type of test or inspection? What are the features? And how frequent? So all these are back to your control measures. Now do you understand how the learning outcome is so important? Okay. If you don't believe me, shall we try one more? Let's not try a electric shock thing. Let's try something else. Okay, let me see whether I can have one more for you. Okay. Somebody is about to move into a new building. The owners are supposed to carry out an assessment for suitability of lighting within the building. Identify the factors to be considered. Outline factors other than lighting associated with the physical working environment that may impact on the health and safety of a person. Outline the welfare facilities required in the building. Now, if you look at your element 1, common health, welfare, work environment requirements, risk factors and appropriate controls for violence, hazards and control measures for safe movement of people, hazards and control measures for safe working at height, etc. All these are your learning outcomes. Common health, welfare and work environment requirements will cover the suitability of lighting, what kind of lighting, how big is the task, what is the task, is it a fine task or is it a general task, okay, how late at night do they have to work, etc. Other than lighting, you got ventilation, you got other things, welfare facilities. Welfare, it's all found in GC2 element 1. So you always take a look at your learning outcomes. Do you know enough to take the exam? Okay, you don't need to memorize the learning outcome, please don't, but you need to look at the learning outcome, study, refer back to the learning outcome. Will you be able to do? And then use some of our questions to test yourself. Okay, those that are already on our distance learning program, great, you can test yourself. We will test you. Those that are not, maybe you should be on our distance learning program, or you should buy something from us and you'll see all the questions that we have for you to test your understanding. Alright, this is Raj signing out.